can try fighting the law all you want, but the law is always going to win. From politicians and celebrities to sports figures and business leaders, they're fighting the law. Now, here to sort out the nation's top legal news stories is America's favorite legal analyst, Royal Oakes. This is the Royal Oakes Show.
Robbing people with a 6-gun. I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
Hello and welcome everybody to the Royal Oakes Show. I'm your host today, Connor Oakes. Don't worry, our regular host will be joining us here by Skype. Royal is phoning in. Also joined by our co-host, Ken Jeffries. How are you, Ken?
Okay, I never accused your dad of phoning it in, but I guess he's going to do it this time.
And here, I hope you can see him on Skype, is our regular host, Royal Oakes. How are you?
I'm doing great. This feels so good. I'll be able to just sit back, kick back, and interrupt a whole lot, like you do.
Yeah. Talk
so
over
this is
people.
A little bit of a role reverse.
Perfect. It's good to have you have a relaxing week. Though we didn't have a relaxing week out here in the news. It was jam-packed with the biggest stories of the week, of course, being everything related to Brett Kavanaugh, and then Bill Cosby's, of course, being sentenced. But the one story that dominated everything, went over the top of every other story, was, of course, Batman's penis. And Ken, you have prepared a 20-minute special
Well, I'll tell you, yes, I did. And,
yes.
It was elongated, but we had to cut it down.
God.
And it was circumcised too.
So that's
kind of weird. I read that. I swear to God, I read it in the New York Post.
Too specific. So yeah, for all of those who've been living under a rock, I guess this week DC Comics put out a brand new series of Batman comics, and front and center, buried deep in the pages, was an image of what appeared to be Bruce Wayne's member. Just the outline of it, perhaps.
Say front and center.
It's in shadow as he walks towards the camera, sort of. And enormous fan reaction. The book started selling out.
Yeah, they also showed the other side. It took us. No, seriously, they did. And that's an anatomical term.
It took us, yes, of course. Yeah. It's a doctor term, yes, absolutely. And so everybody's asking, is this going to become a collector's item? What do you think, Royal Oakes? Do you think we should run out and buy all the copies off the shelves?
Well, first of all, I hadn't heard about this, so I have been living under a rock, and I can't believe this. This sounds like the coarsening of America. Now, first of all, are we going to have to refer to his jockstrap as the Bat Cave?
Yes, absolutely. That's a really good way to put it.
What's the deal? I mean, I grew up buying comic books. Admittedly, they weren't Batman. They were Little Lotta, Richie Rich, Uncle Scrooge. I will say Uncle Scrooge and Donald Duck never wore pants, so maybe,
Could be something
everything is going back to the 60s.
Absolutely. Now. Time is a flat circle, etc. Now, this is an attempt by DC, this whole series, it's called Batman Damned, and this is issue number 1. It's an attempt at a slightly more mature aimed audience Batman comic. And in line with that, I think this is a PR stunt. I think they told the artist, slip a penis in there, why not? And then we will claim that it was a mistake, and we'll try to pull it back and censor it in subsequent editions, making our Batman number 1, first appearance of Lil Wayne.
They did have a couple of years ago. They had it with George Clooney, I think, played Batman, and they showed Batman with nipples.
Oh, on the suit, the plastic suit had nipples,
and that was a big thing.
Incredible,
it was crazy.
Con, I'd like to go back just a little bit. I believe it. If I got it right, you said time is a flat circle.
Yeah,
and I'm totally confused.
Don't worry about that.
Is that like an existential thing that I should know about?
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about it. It's not a real statement. It's
because I have a feeling we could spend the whole hour.
By the way,
time is a flat circle.
It's true. It is. It's an
Rudy Giuliani just said truth isn't truth.
There we are. Absolutely. I've actually seen an editorial cartoon of Rudy Giuliani as a snake eating his own tail. No, I haven't. I made that up. But I wish I had. That would be great. Okay, other big topics on our dessert first format here, where we hit the hard-hitting news topics
last.
We've got Bert and Ernie were secretly gay the whole time, or maybe not that secretly.
Wait a minute, is there a theme here? Batman's
penis,
and then Bert and Ernie.
Gay, absolutely. When we see Bert and Ernie's penis on Sesame Street, that will be end times. Yes. No, but Bert
it's like
and Ernie,
sex education for kids starting a little early.
You got to teach them at some point. They got to know, and if they start with felt, that's safer than flesh. I would get. No, let's not go there. Okay, so a man who wrote scripts and songs for about 15 years for Sesame Street came out and said the Muppets, Bert and Ernie, are gay.
Well, he wrote them as gay.
Yeah, they're cohabitating for decades. They're close, intimate relationship. You never see them mash puppet mouths, but that doesn't matter. A lot of people came out and said, oh, wow, that's really, we always suspected, but the question of, is the author dead when analyzing a text or a film, right? Is the director really get to say, does J.K. Rowling get to say Dumbledore was gay after, even though there's nothing in the text? Well, there's more than, evidence than J.K. Rowling had for Dumbledore's homosexuality. In this, they're cohabitating men, and they have been for years and years. That looks like a relationship of some sort to me.
Well, I'm kind of interested in the idea that the guy who says that they're gay, does he have some sort of an axe to grind? Is he gay himself? Is he an advocate for gay rights? Do we know anything about his background?
It's possible. I don't personally know his background. What really stirred up controversy was Sesame Studios put out a response tweet that said, oh, whoa, this guy doesn't speak for us. Bert and Ernie aren't gay because...
Did they say not that there's anything wrong with that?
Almost.
The Seinfeld response, yeah.
Yeah, and then they come out and say, Bert and Ernie aren't gay because puppets don't have sexuality. They're asexual. Excuse me, 90% of the plot of the Muppets is the pig and the frog engaged in faux sexual intercourse on screen. You've got the pig chasing down the Kermit.
They do have personalities and they have character traits. Why would the producers carve out this aspect of human interaction and human traits to say, oh, they're just puppets, they don't have X? Well, they've got A, B, C, D, E.
Exactly. It only makes sense. All they had to say was nothing, and yet they were just so afraid that they would lose some sort of core American base by portraying, by people understanding
Muppet family values.
They'd lose the Muppet family values vote if they just let it pass by that Bert and Ernie were gay.
Let me ask you about the origin, because I remember this myth, this rumor, maybe it's a myth. The classic film, It's a Wonderful Life, had two characters named Bert and Ernie. I think one was the cab driver, who went on to be Dobie Gillis's father, Frank Phelan, and the other guy was the cop. And I think, Bert and Ernie, they were pals around the Potterville, or whatever the real name of that town was. So was the theory that Bert and Ernie's names in Sesame Street came from that movie?
I have never heard that theory. Were they a secret gay couple?
See, that's where I'm headed. Maybe we're going to get the director from It's a Wonderful Life,
Frank Capra. I don't think Frank Capra's still around.
To say Donna Reed and Jimmy Stewart, were gay. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. You never know. All right, well, let's move along from this puppet controversy and hit on our Moron of the Week number 1, who's going to be starting us off. And we'll finish this up. We'll wrap it up with Moron of the Week number 2 candidate at the end of the show. And as usual, we will have the panel vote as to who the real Moron of the Week is. So our first candidate is candidate appropriately enough because he's a Washington, D.C. denizen. His name is Ed Whelan. He is a conservative activist attorney who decided earlier this week, after the Brett Kavanaugh sexual assault allegations dropped, and Dr. Christine Ford alleged that she had been sexually assaulted by Brett Kavanaugh when they were both high school age students at a house party. He starts leaking on Twitter. He starts dropping hints saying, Kavanaugh will be exonerated. I have the information. I have evidence that will put beyond a shadow of a doubt there will be no pall, as he said, no shadow or pall cast across Kavanaugh's
sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's a big deal. We're building it up. It turns out during this time, he goes to a conservative PR spin firm, the same spin firm that did the John Kerry Swift boat spin, and he says to them, I want your help in spinning this up. They start bouncing it back and forth between White House officials and themselves without apparently, they allege now, knowing what Ed Whelan was really up to. They spin into a frenzy, and all these conservatives are talking about how Kavanaugh's going to be exonerated. And then Ed Whelan drops the bomb that his theory is, oh, it was another dude. It was somebody else.
Mistaken identity.
Yeah. Christine Ford, who was sexually assaulted by somebody, it was some other dude that kind of looks like him and went to the same school. I have no evidence for this.
Well, wait a minute, Leah. That's where I was going to go. Where in the world did he think he was going to come up with evidence supporting this?
He posts
You'd have to be an idiot to just toss out the possibility.
He did post the guy's name, right?
He was an idiot, is an idiot. What he does is...
I guess you could call him a moron.
Almost. He posts the guy's personal information, specifically his name. He posts his yearbook photo next to Brett Kavanaugh and basically says, look, they both have brown hair and are white dudes. Aren't they identical? If you were being attacked by one of them, you probably couldn't tell which one it is, right? What? All right, so that's all the evidence he's going off of? That's literally all he's got? It's the biggest bomb I can imagine. I mean, Twitter goes
I take it we have no reason to believe that Brett Kavanaugh actually has a twin brother.
No, we don't. And with a mustache who goes around committing sexual assault.
This would be like a Law and Order SVU sketch, the twin brother, the same DNA,
exactly.
and
Well, speaking of two Kavanaughs, I don't know if you guys saw the story about the book that Mark Judge wrote. He was the blackout drunk who supposedly fell on top of Dr. Ford. She wasn't doctor then, and Kavanaugh, and knocked them all to the ground. Did you read about how he wrote in his book that there was a fellow named Bart O. Kavanaugh who got so drunk he puked into a car and then he blacked out on the way home.
Yeah.
And that's a little weird for him to call him Bart O. Kavanaugh. Has anybody followed up on the possibility that Mark Judge was his way of sort of outing Brett Kavanaugh as a heavy drinker in high school?
Yeah, that is sort of explicitly the idea that Judge writes this book, among all the other bad things that Judge has done and written, and in it he says, I'm going to protect the names of the innocents by fuzzing the names.
He didn't do a very good job of that.
Bart O. Kavanaugh, come on, that's the worst. So, all right.
Yeah, Bart O.
Even
Kavanaugh.
Ed Whelan, the moron who put this theory out there in the world and saw it belly flop in front of literally everyone, including conservatives, he had to walk this back and tweet and said, I made an appalling and inexcusable mistake of judgment in posting the tweet thread in a way that identified Kavanaugh's Georgetown prep classmate. Obviously, as one subsequent Twitter user put it, this is basically Republicans September 18, the day before, saying false rape accusations ruin lives, and then the day later saying, well, maybe this random innocent dude did it. Here's his name. Here's a diagram of the blueprint floor plan of this guy's house, because we think that's the house where maybe this house party happened, and it matches her story.
Wow.
It's like, why are you putting that on the internet? Don't dox this guy. Come on.
And then how would you feel if you were that guy?
Exactly. I mean, the inevitable lawsuit, the libel lawsuit that will come out. I mean, they threw this guy under the bus as, well, if it wasn't, we don't want it to be Kavanaugh. We don't want it to be our guy who's the rapist. So maybe some other random rapist.
It was Bob O. Kavanaugh.
Right.
So I was saying Bart O. Kavanaugh as in an Irish guy. I believe a minute ago, Ken, you may have converted him to Italian because you said Barto Kavanaugh.
No, I did. Well,
were you trying to say he was Italian?
No, I didn't. No, I would never do that.
No?
Luigi O. Kavanaugh.
Of course not.
I don't know.
That would
Bernie
be
O. Kavanaugh.
Probably racist. I don't know. I'm not the arbiter of that.
A slur on Italians everywhere.
Yeah. Today we don't have a millennial correspondent. We have a boomer correspondent. So you have to be the arbiter of what's racist or not for the extent of this show.
I'm happy to do that. I'm happy to do that, absolutely.
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so we can delve a little bit more into the Kavanaugh craziness for a little bit here. This has been the wildest back and forth you can imagine. At a single private citizen who said, I'm willing to testify. And then Congress says, okay, well, it's got to be Monday. It has to be Monday, absolutely, period. It has to be the day that you do it. And she says, well, I don't want to do it exactly Monday. How about Tuesday? How about Wednesday? Nope, can't be. And then they go back and forth in this public, out there debate. Can you imagine how difficult this is for an individual to navigate this up against the force of basically the United States?
Testify at 3 a.m. on Tuesday morning or something.
Right, exactly. I mean, what it comes down to is Susan Collins from Maine, the woman who's basically holds this whole situation in her hands because she's the deciding vote. She said there has to be a hearing, and every Republican said, yeah, you're right. We are beholden to you. We'll hear more all about it when we come back here on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show.
Hey, Lorraine, do you realize that your mother, my mother-in-law, Chef Maria, has been serving Las Vegas since 1949?
Yes, I do, Dennis. That's when she first met Howard Hughes, who fell in love with her cooking.
And in 1955, she opened her first restaurant on Fremont Street.
Yes, dear. And another great customer was Liberace.
Wow. Then in 1962, while Frank Sinatra and the Rat Pack were causing global excitement on the Las Vegas Strip, your family opened their second restaurant.
And in 1970, 1972, Elvis Presley began electrifying Las Vegas audiences and eating in our restaurants.
You know, Lorraine, this is quite a town. There's only one Las Vegas.
And there's only one Bootlegger Italian Bistro.
Folks, when you're in Las Vegas, come visit us. We'll make you feel like you're part of our family.
The Bootlegger Italian Bistro, conveniently located at 7700 Las Vegas Boulevard, South Strip. Visit our website at www.bootleggerlasvegas.com.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
Have you purchased a wine refrigerator or put a wine cellar in your home? Maybe you have a new wine rack. Great news, but what wines will you buy to stock your wine rack? Let me, Michael Horn, help. I'll find the wines for your wine cellar with your taste in mind. We'll determine what varietals, Cabernet, Pinot, Chardonnay, what types of wine, California, French, Italian, you like. We'll find you one-of-a-kind wines from all of our friends we interview daily on the What's Cooking show and the What's Cooking on Wine show. On a budget, we'll find you the best affordable wines. Want hard-to-get library wines? We can source those for you, too. And if you need cigars, let L.A. Rams sports legend and iconic actor Fred Dryer make your selections. Hey, we could even host a wine dinner for you or set up a sports cigar party with Fred. Call me, Michael Horn, at the What's Cooking Today show. Call 818-818-6400. That's 818-818-6400. Let us find the dream wines of your lifetime.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Royal Oaks Show. I'm your host for the week, Connor Oaks, and still joined by co-host Ken Jeffries, and by your, thank you very much, and by your normal host, Royal Oaks by Skype. How are you, Royal, out there? Where are you located?
I don't think and nobody's ever told me normal, called me normal. I have to say I'm touched by that.
I misspoke. I meant boring
By the way,
host.
Connor, I want to say that we've checked Facebook and we're honored that Don Barrett has tuned into the program.
Yeah, you got that too.
Connor, you don't know this, but Ken is very nervous right now because Don Barrett, as proprietor of LARadio.com. You know how Walter Winchell would make and break careers with show business people?
Winchell's Donuts?
Folks
Yes.
a few decades ago. Well, that's Don Barrett's power. So, Ken, you better be on your best behavior.
Yeah, I know.
Because
he can make
one
and
word
break
from Don, and I think your career could just, be in deep trouble.
Or soar to new heights. I'm not sure which. But
there's that, too, but I prefer to be a pessimist and kind of dwell on the negatives.
Can I say hello to some of the other people, too? First of all, hello.
Sure.
I saw that, too. And hi, Don. Thanks for watching. Susan Lesher, who is married to John Lesher, former anchor at KFWB, and they live in the East Coast. And hello, Susan. And John working in radio back there. Bob Vandervalk, world-famous oil analyst, is watching. Sam Quasman. Sam Quasman's a friend of mine who happens to be the voice of Donald Duck. Ooh. That sounds a little bizarre, but that's what he does.
Wow.
And he's great at it.
We got celebrities in the chat.
And
let me ask you this. When he voices Donald Duck, does he wear pants?
Does Sam wear pants? I don't know.
No, he's a method actor. He gets in character.
But Sam,
Not in general, Ken. When he voices Donald Duck,
right.
Does he wear pants? I don't know. But he'll probably tell us.
I also want to shout out our listener and frequent viewer Phil Arcooni, who wrote in with the correct, winning answer to the political history trivia question we asked a while back, and he will be receiving a signed photo of the panel as soon as the panel is in the same state at the same time. Of course, that's an important.
As soon as we can forge the signatures.
Yeah, exactly. Forge Royal Royal Oaks. Let me just draw Royal Oaks' signature for the stream so that they can forge checks.
So don't forget LARadio.com, Don Barrett. Okay.
Exactly.
You got the plug.
So real quick here, we've got a short segment, but I just want to throw in how amazing it is to me that Trump was able to restrain himself and not discuss so offensively the allegations against Judge Kavanaugh until Friday. He towed the party line so well, and he said, oh, we're going to deal with this carefully, and we're going to be respectful. It's going to be a process. If we need to slow down the process, it needs to slow it down. That's okay, no problem. And then, on Friday, on his Twitter feed, naturally, at 6:14 in the morning, Trump, from the top rope, comes up and somehow punches himself in his own toadstool. He could not resist being his normal, sexist, callous self. Comes out on Twitter saying, taking to Twitter to post, first of all, just contradicting the Republican line, which was, well, maybe this wasn't so bad. Maybe this is, she's misremembering, and maybe this sort of thing shouldn't disqualify someone from public office for the rest of their life or from being a member of the court of our highest court in our land, which, of course, is a crazy position. But he comes out and takes the complete opposite position and says, well, what she describes as terrible, so bad that I can't believe it unless she reported it to the police.
Yeah, 36 years ago. What was it, 35 years ago?
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
How dumb can you be? He, of course, then is immediately eviscerated by tens of thousands of responses in a Twitter, avalanche of people using the hashtag, why I didn't report, describing their sexual assault history and why they didn't report it for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, because they were teenagers, because the men who did it to them were powerful or older or influential or manipulative, because they were scared, because people wouldn't believe them, because people would say that they dressed badly or acted badly and were drunk and were, called them sluts and everything else. This horrible treatment that the survivors of sexual assault always experience or almost always experience, and Trump just throws it out there like, well, there's just no explanation for what she's done.
I think it was fascinating that he held off as long as he did, and I think most people speculate that folks just literally had to hold him down, or figuratively, and say, Mr. President, I know you love to tweet, but you got to let this go. You got to go with the party line. You got to say, oh, there's a process. And it is weird that it worked for several days, and then he couldn't resist.
He can't resist the counterpunch.
I guess I got to say what he's doing is obscuring the real question. And the real question is, how do we get to a fair determination? I don't trust any Republican like Orrin Hatch, who's already made up his mind that she is a liar or an exaggerator. And I don't trust any Democrat whose transparent objective is to please get us past the midterms, or pretty please get us past December so we can maybe take over the Senate. I want to see an investigation. It only took a few days for the FBI to look into Anita Hill. It shouldn't take too long to get an investigation done and have a fair decision. I'm still searching for an honest man like Diogenes. I'm looking for somebody in Washington who really cares about the truth as opposed to gaining some political advantage or packing the court with one more person.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And it's so hard to do that in the midst of this incredibly partisan process. And we'll get back to maybe a way that we could finally find a way to do so after this next break here on The Royal Oak Show.
We'll be back on CRN with The Royal Oak Show.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
You're experiencing pain, back pain, shoulder, elbow, or hand pain from a sports injury. If so, schedule a visit with Dr. Michael Sheps, the leading expert in laser therapy for pain management. Call 310-873-4422 or go to drsheps.com.
Experience Epic T, the breakthrough laser therapy system that Dr. Shep's developed to make you pain-free in less time. Laser therapy is a non-invasive, safe, and effective in-office procedure that penetrates deep into your skin without damaging the tissue. It perfectly targets areas of pain to promote fast, natural healing. Relax your muscles, ease muscle spasms, joint stiffness, and arthritis pain while increasing blood circulation. For over 25 years, Dr. Shep's has helped Olympic athletes and sports enthusiasts alike get back in the game. Schedule your visit with Dr. Shep's at his Brentwood office in California. Call 310-873-4422 or visit drsheps.com. That's DRSHEPS.com. 310-873-4422.
When you really want Italian food, you have got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. What happened to summer? You turn around and it's gone. So what do? Solution. Either stop turning around or head on over to Columbo's and enjoy the most delicious steaks imaginable. Seafood that brings awe and wonderment to your happy little taste buds. Columbo family Italian recipes so special they're kept under lock and key at an undisclosed and secure location. Jazz every night and the world's greatest meatballs. Need I say more? Oh, but I will. Enjoy the summer and head on over to Columbo's Italian Steakhouse. Good Time Central. Columbo's, because it really is that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Columbo's. Mangia.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet, so make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Destination South Point. 11 great restaurants, bingo, bowling, movies, race books, sports books, spa, live entertainment, oversized rooms, and the rates unbeatable. The South Point Las Vegas. Book now. Online at southpointcasino.com or call 866-791-7626. southpointcasino.com or call 866-791-7626. At the South Point Las Vegas, you're always a winner.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show.
Glenn Campbell bumper music. I like that.
Nice choice. Yeah, and Ken, of course, with the encyclopedic knowledge of all music ever created.
Old disc jockey.
From his DJ days.
Old.
Hey, once a DJ, always a DJ.
From WOLD. Old.
That's pretty good. So we're going to jump here real quick to Bill Cosby, who is in the middle of a tumultuous sentencing phase. He has been now found guilty, and the question is, what is this judge, Judge O'Neill, going to do during the sentencing phase? He's faced with the difficult question of how to handle an 81-year-old man who claims to be very ill, and facing a long prison sentence, and also possibly a long appeals process. So Bill Cosby is going to have the chance to appeal his conviction, and the question is, will this guy rot in jail while that appeal is decided? Royal, what do you think about the fact that the guy's old and potentially ill, and while he sits, he's not a flight risk, really. Does he have to sit in jail while his appeal is decided?
Yeah, I think if you're using a walker, it's hard to characterize you as a flight risk. But it's a problem. I think the default setting, the general approach by the criminal justice system is if you get convicted, then you are not free on appeal. that you're free to pursue your appeal, but you go rot in jail while you pursue it. Sometimes, if the appellate court thinks that it's a really intriguing legal issue, maybe it's pretty apparent the trial court made a mistake, then they'll let them out on appeal. But in general, they won't. So let's assume that there's no exceptional thing about the trial where the Court of Appeal says that he should be let out on that basis. Then you're confronted with the situation where, as you say, he's frail, he's nearly blind, he's 81, maybe he'll live 3 or 4 years if you look at the actuarial tables. And let's just hypothetically say in 3 or 4 years, it's reversed. Because, for example, the trial court judge let 5 women talk about stuff that happened over the last many decades, and it could easily be that the appellate court would reverse the conviction on that basis. And let's say he dies in prison the day he gets the good news that he gets a new trial.
That would be awkward.
People would feel bad about that. On the other hand, does anybody really feel bad about Bill Cosby when overwhelming 55 women came forward and said he did this, he got me drunk, he drugged me, he had sex with me, and so on. But it is a problem because, setting aside, personal feelings about the guy, do you give somebody what may amount to a life sentence when he has a shot on appeal?
Yeah, it's a tough call, and I don't know the right moral answer. I can only sort of come from the legal angle of it, which is a good thing. We got a couple of lawyers here on the panel, and we have our actual moral compass on the panel, Ken here, who can join us. But there is a
moral moral compass.
Don't worry, just accept it. Don't worry about it. So there is a Pennsylvania law that says that you can consider evidence of other unrelated crimes, which is what which is the law that this judge used to allow these 5 other women to testify, so long as that evidence of other unrelated crimes shows a signature pattern of crimes, the way that this person did those crimes. And so, thus it can be evidence that he did the one crime that he was actually on trial for. Now, is that a good law? I don't know. Ordinarily, outside evidence that's ordinarily called character evidence, we're careful to exclude it when possible. But
of course, if you go back, Connor, to the Phil Spector case of 10 years or so, you remember he picked up Lana Clarkson, the hostess at House of Blues, took her back to his castle, the Pyrenees Castle in Alhambra, gets drunk, waves the gun, ends up shooting her dead. And, of course, he claimed it was an accident, even though he came out and said to his limo driver, I think I just killed somebody. The judge in that case did exactly what the Cosby judge did. He allowed maybe about 4 women to testify and say, well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, over the last 30 years, I've been out with Phil, and he got drunk, he waved a gun at me, and I was lucky he didn't shoot me in the head. So it is a pattern. Then the question is it so prejudicial that you can't let it in? Because if the jury decides that they want to get back at him because of what he did to these other women, then that's not really fair. It could show a pattern, but they're really supposed to be there to decide whether or not he molested Andrea Constant. So there is no easy answer.
What do you think, Ken? Do you think that it's possible for a jury to hear the sob stories, legitimate sob stories, of course, I don't mean to minimize them by using that phrase, of these 5 other women? Do you think that it's possible that a jury can separate themselves and say, okay, ignoring whether or not, ignoring whether or not he deserves punishment for those 5 crimes.
To separate them?
Yeah, I'm only going to punish him for this one crime with Andrea Constance here. Is that possible for an ordinary human to do?
No.
No, I don't think it is. I just can't imagine that it is. I mean, I put myself in
that. And that's my moral compass opinion. That's the moral compass of the show.
Of the show. You're the intellectual and moral center. You're the chewy nougat at the middle of our...
Boy, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
The people are always comparing Ken to chewy nougat. I don't get it. The other angle is that this judge supposedly had a feud with the district attorney who preceded the current one. The former DA chose not to prosecute Cosby. The judge has had this running feud with him, and now he's making all sorts of favorable rulings for the successor, the new DA. Some people say that's a sign of unfairness.
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
It's not a bad defense lawyer's argument to try as a last-ditch effort to disregard O'Neill's ruling on this case. I find it pretty far-fetched to say that because this judge, in this massively high-profile case that will effectively define his entire judicial career, is going to use this moment to get back at somebody who's no longer the DA but has been replaced by a new DA, and therefore I'll give favorable rulings to his replacement as a punishment for the old guy, and that's going to be my motivation for how I decide the Bill Cosby sentencing. Like, that is such small beans. Like, if we disqualified anybody who's got a grudge or a feud with anybody else, you're not going to have any judges left on the planet. I've never found that to be that sort of argument to be a convincing one, and I don't think it's going to fly in this case.
Between chewy nougat and small beans, you've got a food theme to your show.
Yeah, we should convert this to a cooking show. I think, Ken, you could be the intellectual
Rachel Ray.
center.
Ken play Rachel Ray.
Yeah,
I'll play Rachel Ray. Delish.
There we are. You could be the Barefoot Contessa, and I'll be Emerald Lagasse. And oh no, now everyone knows that I'm obsessed with the Food Network.
I'll be Anthony Bourdain. Oh, no, never mind.
Yeah, no, so sad. Okay, so let's jump real quickly to another issue that came up this week in the news. Joe Biden may have, as usual, put his foot in his mouth yet again. In a speech to, I believe, the Human Rights Council, he was talking about how there's a small subsection of the American population who are these virulent, hateful people, and they have an ally in the White House. And then he described that group as the dregs, some of them are, quote, some of them are the dregs of society, close quote. And the question is, does this give Republicans, the GOP, and the GOP's base a new deplorables moment, or clinging bitterly to guns and religion, as Obama said, moment, something to rally around where we can ignore the politics of the day and instead say, identity politics, I was attacked. I personally feel attacked by this statement.
I'm a dreg and I'm proud of it.
Exactly. We're going to have shirts, #dregs. It's going to be the next big thing, right, Royal?
Yeah, I think absolutely he put his foot in his mouth. I would want to sit down with him and use the line Jay Leno used on Hugh Grant after he was caught with Divine Brown. What were you thinking? Mm-hmm. Do you not realize that Hillary totally stepped in it when she called Trump's people deplorables? Yeah. It galvanizes these folks. So in that sense, calling them dregs of society, it seems kind of stupid. Now, the one alternative theory is Biden seems pretty plain. He wants to run for president. I mean, who doesn't? Now, Bloomberg wants to run for president.
Sure.
Talk about low-hanging fruit. Mm-hmm. Who couldn't beat Trump? He may be saying to himself, okay, it's going to tick off Trump's base. I don't really care about Trump's base. I want to reach out, get ahead of Kamala Harris, get ahead of Spartacus. Yeah. I want to reach out to people and have them see me as the one guy who is the safe person who will absolutely beat Trump. Because Elizabeth Warren, with all of Trump's Pocahontas stuff and Spartacus and so on, these people have flaws in their political resume that Trump can exploit. Yeah. Whereas Biden, Uncle Joe, everybody likes him, seems to do a good job as vice president.
I mean, the connection to Obama is Biden's biggest weakness, right? I mean, among the Trump base. But really, the Trump base that would look at the connection to Obama and say that's disqualifying, they were never voting Democrat anyway. And so any association at all with Obama probably helps the guy. I can't imagine with actual likely Democratic voters. So yeah, if he's running, and he's probably running, I mean, who isn't at this point? Like you said, I think this is probably a big PR win, given that no press is bad press, as they say.
A PR win for Biden?
Yeah, I think this is a PR win for Biden simply because no press is bad press. Although as a member of the press, you've often been called bad press, so maybe you can't comment on that.
Or part of the basket of or whatever.
There we are, absolutely.
And I think the safest move for the Democrats would be to get somebody toward the center.
Yeah.
He could beat Trump most easily. When they go out to the fringe, when they go with Bernie or Liz Warren, that's when they're rolling the dice. But that seems to be what they want to do these days.
That's true. I mean, it's a debatable thing, right? When you have to excite your base to win a presidential election, the question is, can you excite your base with a middle-of-the-road centrist? And it's possible that you can inflame your base against the other guy and put up a centrist, as the Republicans and Democrats have both done many times or attempted to do. But that's not what happened with Trump. Trump went all the way far right and inflamed them, and campaign
just got the
strategically,
Electoral College.
and he snagged the Electoral College. So maybe
the Democrats should use Stormy Daniels to excite the base.
Well, she's got a new book out.
She gets $75,000 per gig.
That's pretty good. Ken, you of course
there's
have read.
little talk about exciting the base.
No.
Too many. The jokes write themselves.
They do. Ken, so you've read Stormy Daniels.
Well, you know what?
We
led off the show with a description of Batman's hoo-ha.
Right.
And Stormy Daniels in this book describes what she says is the shape of the president's hoo-ha.
President's hoo-ha.
You see, this falls under the coarsening of America
It does.
heading.
Well, I think the coarsening of America, I would put that squarely at Trump's feet, in his fault, I would say. If you want to, the guy in a presidential debate gets out there and starts talking about his penis. He's up there saying, "I'll tell you about the size of my hands."
Marco Rubio started it.
Yeah, Marco started it. Absolutely. All right, last topic before we go to the next break. We've got a gas tax out here in California that's pretty controversial. And there are some pretty liberal folks, some California politicians who, even if they're Republicans out here, you're pretty liberal, who are staking out some positions against our governor here, Governor Brown, saying that this tax went overboard. So it's an infrastructure tax. It's a 6-cent tax on a gallon of gasoline that says...
No, it's a 12-cent tax.
Oh, it's 12. Thank you very much.
I believe it was a 12-cent tax.
And it says we're going to take that money and use it to build infrastructure, roads and bridges and canals and the rest here in California. And Governor Brown is sort of the more extreme position, who said, I want these infrastructure changes now. I want a legacy. And there are a bunch of other politicians who've said, we explicitly want that to be repealed. Royal, what do you think? Do you think these people are just politically posturing themselves, or do you think that this is the right policy move to repeal this tax?
We got to get rid of the gas tax. Here's the deal. If we get rid of the crazy train, we won't need the gas tax. And I've read studies that if we don't pay for the crazy train, we can cure cancer and psoriasis.
That's pretty good.
With that money alone.
Yeah.
The thing about the gas tax is I've read that the government is cheating. What the Caltrans workers on a freeway were told recently is they were handed flyers to give out to drivers who were in a traffic jam that Caltrans intentionally created.
Whoa.
And the flyers they handed out to people basically said, oh my gosh, we need more tax money, we need more gas tax for infrastructure and so on. So they were just told, all right, Bert, you go out there and you hand out those flyers to it's a little bit like Chris Christie closing down the bridge. So I think they're cheating.
That's
and I think
slimy.
that the gas tax deserves to be repealed.
Yeah, and it will be repealed. I think it will be.
I can't imagine.
I just think it will. I don't know.
I can't imagine us putting up a ballot measure for Californians to vote on that says repeal the gas tax, and then having Californians say, no, I want to keep paying it, actually.
Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger, remember that he ran back in 2003 during the recall about repealing there was a car tax, right? No, not a car tax, a registration fee hike and all of that.
Right.
He repealed it and proved very popular, and I think helped him win the governorship.
Yeah,
plus he promised free DVDs of the Terminator movies. That helped.
That's right. Yeah,
it can't hurt. It can't hurt. Absolutely not. Speaking of the will of the people and manipulation thereof, perhaps we've got an LA City Council controversy. They're trying to pass some rules that will allow them to ban certain people who they deem disruptive from LA City Council meetings chambers. So these people, if they disrupt the meeting in some way, they could be kicked out, and not only kicked out as they can now, but banned for some amount of days following. And some civil liberties groups like the ACLU have said that this amounts to a gag order, that this is a very restrictive government action that will lock down free speech, and that it's the wrong thing to do.
Well, I think that's quite frankly BS.
Yeah.
Because these gadflies use horrible language in front of the city council, and I think you've seen that too, Royal. And
absolutely, I was sitting next to you when we saw it about a year ago in the city council. It's very disruptive.
Yeah, and it's broadcast live on Channel 35 here in LA because by law, I think it has. They have to carry it.
Right.
And the bad language and all, and it really gets bad. And,
but it does.
It's disgusting, and it's directed at council members, and they have, don't forget, not all the time, but there are some children on occasion in the council, and they shouldn't have to hear that stuff.
No, they shouldn't. I think for once.
And adults too.
We may all agree.
Well, you know, the crazy thing is the city council is being so timid. Oh, well, if you're disruptive and you're swearing, we're not going to let you come back to another meeting until 4 hours from now or in a day or two. I mean, let's face it, they ought to go to San Quentin. These guys don't have a political agenda. They are just mental patients, many of them. Yeah. And even if they do have a political agenda, that's our First Amendment at work, to allow people to line up and give serious speeches to the city council people. Yeah. For people to be swearing, I wondered why they weren't harder on the protesters during the Kavanaugh business. I mean, every 5 minutes, Code Pink starts screaming and they're dragging them out, hitting them with rubber hoses, and yet you know they weren't going to prosecute them. I mean, they're simply going to slap them on the wrist.
Yeah, it's a flip side of free speech, and I think that the ACLU, for once, actually, in my opinion, is in the wrong on this one. I think that it's a slippery slope argument to say that these people should have no restrictions placed on them at all. You can have reasonable restrictions on speech. You can have reasonable gag order periods where these people have proven that they are doing the wrong thing and they're for the wrong reasons. We'll come back with our final section here on the Royal Oak Show in just a few minutes. Stick with us.
We'll be back on CRN with the Royal Oak Show.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Located in the heart of Maui's premier resort, Kaanapali Beach Hotel is officially recognized as Hawaii's most Hawaiian hotel and the #1 best value in Hawaii. With a range of accommodations and affordable dining options, this is the ideal setting to turn Hawaiian dreams into lifelong memories. Live Hawaiian entertainment every evening, free year-round children's programs, weekly arts and crafts fairs, welcome breakfast, and departure kukui lei ceremonies add to the value. Swim in the whale-shaped pool, indulge in the fabulous spa and hotel salon. Enjoy Hawaiian hospitality at its best at the Kaanapali Beach Hotel. Call 800-262-8450 or go to kbhmaui.com. That's kbhmaui.com. Aloha.
Kaanapali Beach Hotel, Maui's Hawaiian Hotel.
Do you want to fly somewhere, anywhere in the world? Smart travelers call myflightsearch.com for the best deals on flight tickets. Going to Manila, Bangkok, London, how about Singapore? Call myflightsearch.com for the lowest flight tickets available. What about a local vacation? Let's say you want to fly to Vegas, Orlando, Miami, Los Angeles, or Denver. Pick up the phone and call myflightsearch.com right now. We have exclusive deals that you can't find anywhere else. The only way you can get these low airline prices is by calling us. We have so many low prices available, we can't possibly tell them to you right here and now. If you're flying somewhere anytime in the next 6 months and you want the lowest airline ticket prices anywhere, you owe it to yourself to save a ton of money. So pick up your cell phone and call myflightsearch.com right now.
Call 800-445-3166. 800-445-3166. That's 800-445-3166. Call now. 800-445-3166.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Welcome back to the Royal Oak Show, everybody. Panel, I think we've got a new mascot for the show. I think we've got a new idol we can hold up. And his name is Plaid Shirt Guy.
Plaid Shirt Guy.
Plaid Shirt Guy, who's become an internet folk hero. This is a high school student who attended a Trump rally and stood behind Trump, directly behind Trump, in full view of the cameras. And when Trump said some crazy nonsense, started rolling his eyes, and then as it escalated, started questioning what is he saying, and his face got funnier and funnier. It was honestly made my entire week. And the cherry on top of all of that was that Trump's PR guys apparently could not handle this, and they sent out a woman to yank him off the stage, whisper in his ear, "Oh, you gotta go, you gotta get off." And so they pull him off stage. He's gone. They replace him with a smiling, plastic-faced young woman who gladly grins, in a sense, to whatever nonsense Trump was spewing. They then drag plaid shirt guy off. Okay, maybe escort comfortably plaid shirt guy off to a room where the Secret Service starts questioning the guy. Why? What
Well,
did he seem like a threat?
I think he's lucky that he didn't do it behind Hillary during the campaign, because if she got wind of that, she'd take one of her high heels off and take out his left eye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
This is actually similar to a Dodger game I attended several years ago. It was a playoff game, and the guy sitting next to me had, Pepsi has a very distinctive logo.
Right.
PSI, 5 letters, colors, and everything. Only the word wasn't Pepsi.
Uh-oh.
It was another 5-letter word that started with P.
Is this show all about penises? Every segment of the show is about penises.
In the 6th inning, the guards came and they started to haul him off. He said, "Oh no!" He took the shirt off, put it on inside out. So
almost like he'd been there before. Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Exactly.
Oh, speaking of taking your shirt off, we now have potentially pole dancing as an Olympic sport.
Speaking of segues are us.
No. Segues are us. It's like we planned this out. No, this is totally unplanned, ladies and gentlemen. Believe me. Pole dancing potentially as an Olympic sport. What do you think? Fully clothed, I would assume.
Where in the world did they get the idea of pole dancing? Is that actually a
it's
thing?
a real
like
athletic
gymnastics? Thing? It's not just something that goes on in a strip club?
Absolutely. You've got classes now that people, men and women, take pole dancing classes, and they've got all the equipment. It's basically like yoga.
They got pole vaulters. They might as well have pole dancing.
Exactly. It's the next logical step.
If we're going to do pole dancing, I think we add twerking to
Great
the Olympics,
idea.
and that way Miley Cyrus can finally get her
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, to wrap the show up, put a cherry on top of this Sunday, we're going to have our Moron of the Week candidate number 2. And for this, it's the group of idiots who took a Women for Kavanaugh picture and put the panel of people who are members of Women for Kavanaugh in front of their bus, and they took a photo in which men outnumbered women. Come on. Are you completely...
Wait a minute, Connor. How do you know those men don't identify?
You're right. It's 2018.
That's
You're
right.
right.
Fluid
all right.
would be
All right.
gender
What do you
fluid,
think, panel?
right.
Do you think Ed Whelan, doxing rape accuser, is the greater moron, or do you think the Women for Kavanaugh group?
I would say that in spite of, it's so creative, the idea that Kavanaugh had an evil twin, I would say that he wins the moron of the week award, in my opinion.
You people are both dead wrong. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Royal Oak Show, and we'll see you next week.
We're back.
All right. I couldn't let us go. I couldn't let us go. We got 30 more seconds. I got to fill in. Coca-Cola wants to make cannabis-infused drinks. Would you drink?
Well, they had cocaine originally. You're
right. It's only proper. Royal?
Maybe.
I would say this. It sounds to me like since it had cocaine in it, probably still has some remnants maybe. And because this sounds like a speedball that killed poor John Belushi.
Sounds delicious is what it sounds like. I'm 100% in.
All
right. For real this time.
Now we really got to go.
After the postscript.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us, everybody. See you next week.
CRN Digital Talk Radio prides itself on being the station of every situation. Of course, you can always listen live through your local cable TV provider, as well as on our website at crntalk.com. But if cutting-edge technology is more your style, you'll be happy to know that CRN is now available on Wi-Fi radio. Simply log on to Reciva.com, that's RECIVA.com, and look for CRN. You can access all of our great shows and listen live anywhere in the world. Be part of your favorite shows and get the full CRN listening experience you would have with any traditional radio, podcast, or a live stream from our website. For more information on where or how to listen,